All right, guys, hey, it's Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to go over the particular barbells that you're going to need in your gym to be the most successful you can be. Now, just remember, guys, it took me a lot of years to collect these many bars, but I have used them in my training year-round, and I truly believe that having these many different stimuluses has allowed me to stay in the game for a long time. So let's get to it. The first bar you're going to need is a quality straight bar. Now, in my personal opinion, there is no better quality straight bar than the Texas Power Bar. The Texas Power Bar, we've had some of these in this gym for 12, 15 years now, and I bought some of them used, meaning I don't know how old they are. They've never bent, they've never broken, and the bearings in them work amazing after all this time. And trust me, we beat our shit up here. So the squat bar is about a foot longer than a normal bar, and as you get bigger and stronger, what you're going to start to notice is that a squat bar is definitely going to be needed for the wear and tear, especially when you get over the 5, 6, 7, 800 pound range on squats. So if you're looking for good bars, the Texas squat bar, in my opinion, is the best bar for the money. Let's go on to the next bar. The next bar would be something like this. We call it a Cuddle Bar, named after my buddy Mike Kudla. We really don't make it much anymore, but it's basically a very, very hard camber bar. This bar is very rocking, so when you squat with it, it's gonna make you do this and make you lock in your core really tight. So on other videos, we've talked about the TVA, transverse abdominis. This bar really has allowed me to hit those monster squats like 520 for 24, because when you train in an unstable environment and go back to a stable environment, it's insanely easy compared to people that have never touched that before. Again, you need different stimuluses in order to get better. The next bar that I think every gym should have is a Duffel Low Bar. This Duffel Low Bar, as you can see, is similar to a straight bar with a slight bend in it. So it's basically a very slow modified camber bar. Now there's two reasons I like this bar and why you need it. One, it reduces the pressure on your shoulder that a squat bar, a regular squat bar, would cause. Two, it actually has a little bit of that rocking issue that a straight bar just doesn't do. When you train with this bar, it teaches you how to lock in better, and it also protects your shoulders. So for long-term development, it's huge. Now, the other thing I like about this bar, it's amazing to bench press with. Why? Because if your hands are here on the line, you actually have to bench 2 inches or so deeper than you would a normal bar. That means that you're getting more range of motion out of the same exercise, therefore more muscle, and then when you go back to a completely straight bar, you're moving it 2 inches less. It feels like you're almost cheating that you're stronger. So I have used a Duffel Low Bar a lot when training to build my bench or my squat up to immense levels. So I actually use this bar again to get ready for that world record rep squat for 520. The next thing that you may or may not need, depending on how competitive you are, is a deadlift bar. A deadlift bar has a little bit more flex than a normal bar, and its center thickness is about 1/4 of an inch or so thinner. This makes it a little bit easier on your hands to hold more weight, and it also is a little bit easier on your back. Now, the stronger you get, the more that bar flexes, but in my opinion, the Texas Deadlift Bar is a perfect blend between being stiff enough and flimsy enough. Some of the other bars, like the Oki Deadlift Bar and some of the other ones they're using now, they're almost too flimsy, and they cause you to have a lot of issues to deadlift with. So I'm a huge fan of the Texas Deadlift Bar, and this one's 15 years old, and it's seen 800+ pound deadlifts for a long time. The next bar, and we got a couple sitting here that we're gonna show you guys videos on, the safety bar. The safety bar is a bar that wraps around your neck, and you squat with it not sitting directly on your shoulders. It's actually around your traps. What I like about this bar is it actually makes it levered like you're doing a front squat, and it makes your upper back work extremely hard. So for a lot of you listening, the reason that your squat might be stalling is because when you get to the bottom, your body's falling over this way. Well, if it's doing that, the safety bar actually teaches you how to hold that upright. That is a huge, huge component in order to squatting big weights and also pulling the pressure off of your shoulders. I truly feel that I would not have been able to break multiple squat records if I hadn't trained with a safety bar at least every once in a while. The next bar is a fat bar. Now, a fat bar is awesome because it's really big around. It limits your grip. It's insanely stiff. This is actually an axle bar, so it's solid steel. There is no bend on it, so it's like 75 pounds. The bar itself is a tank, so as you can see, it's solid. And what I like about this particular bar, there's no bearings in it. So when the weights go on, this doesn't spin. You see it spins when I turn it. A normal bar, look what happens here. See? So when I do that, it makes me have to bench that bar very, very meticulously because it wants to roll around, okay? The next bar, and all kinds of different companies make it, I actually made this one by hand. This is a angled football bar handle. This handle is really good for taking pressure off of your shoulder and also doing JM presses off of. But because that handle is like this, it takes a lot of pressure off of your shoulder. So I really, really like this bar. So let's get to the last bar that I think is super important for most people's gyms. The next bar is a bamboo bar. This bar is made by Bandbell. It's got bamboo in the middle, wooden ends, and you hang kettlebells or weights off of the edge. What I like about this bar is it increases the kinetic energy or the instability of the bench press, causing the rotator cuffs and small shoulder muscles and shoulder blade muscles to become very, very responsive to your pressing. If I were to start all over again in my teens, I would have probably picked this bar and learned how to get really good with it before I raised my actual barbell bench. That way my rotators and my upper back would have gotten developed at the same rate. Luckily, I was never hurt as a kid, not understanding those principles, but today is just ignorance to not understand why that's important. For most people, big benchers especially, the reason that they have to retire or they can't lift as much as they used to is because of the small muscles in their shoulder get trashed. This bar will actually make sure that that doesn't happen and keep those shoulder injuries at bay. So if you have any more questions, go on to Patreon, Wenning Strength Patreon or wenningstrength.com, and we can answer some questions for you. Some of these bars we don't sell, but I wanted to give a shout out to the stuff that I've been using for many, many years to be able to help you guys navigate through your training. So please visit us at wenningstrength.com and hope to talk to you guys soon. Thanks.